Hi YouTube, this is Yan. I've just completed my longest way back home after leaving Switzerland. I crossed 10 different countries and regions and finally reached home. This trip took altogether 161 days. So during this time, I've got some comments and questions asking some practical information of the trip, such as how much money I spent for the whole trip, how do I finance myself, and which country I would recommend to visit, and also if I was scared or not, etc. So I want to take this chance to address those topics and give you some practical information, and I hope those will be helpful for your trip planning in the future. So let's first start with the money. I took notes of almost every item I spent during this trip. So when I add everything together, this total number is 7,573 euros. It's more or less like that. This includes everything such as the visa, hotel accommodation, food, occasionally shopping, travel insurance, etc. And this wasn't a budget because for some parts of my trip, I stayed in very nice hotels. I had car rentals, I also had tour guide with me. But divided by 161 days, my daily expense is roughly 47 euros, which is also not very expensive. About 1/3 of the total cost is on transport, 29% is on accommodation, 12% is on food. Other expenses include the travel insurance, visas, tour guide, gifts, shopping. 7% is wasted. This includes cancellations for 2 non-refundable flights, changing charges for 2 flights, and also visa fees for Uzbekistan and Tajikistan. I planned to go there, but in the end, I didn't manage to visit the Central Asia countries. And let's see the daily expense by countries and regions. I was so shocked to find out the highest daily expense was in Kurdistan. It's even higher than regions such as Hong Kong, Oman, or UAE. The food in Kurdistan, it's actually not pricey at all. And there are 2 main reasons behind this high expense. First of all, the hotels are quite pricey. We didn't manage to find cheap accommodation options online, and the ones that you can book online are already quite pricey. So in the end, we paid about from 60 to 80 euros per night for 2 person per day. And the second is we rent a car for a week and we got scammed. For this car rental service, he calculated 1 day more, and also he took our deposit. After we left Kurdistan, he told us that we were speeding. That was hundreds of dollars fine. But when we asked for a ticket, a proof, he never responded. So I think scammers are everywhere. Sometimes we're just unlucky to have one. Kurdistan was followed by Oman, Hong Kong, and Hangzhou. Hangzhou is actually not an expensive place at all, only because I was under compulsory quarantine in a very good hotel. My least daily expense are in Turkey and Iran. On the one hand, traveling costs in those 2 countries are relatively lower. I think in Iran it's slightly cheaper than that in Turkey, and Turkey is similar to that in Malaysia. But also, I never had a tour guide in those countries. I never stayed in very expensive places, and I spent a lot of time with my friends and the locals, and this helps me to keep the budget quite low. And since I had different travel style in different regions and countries, my figure doesn't really represent the real travel expense of that country or that region. But according to my experience, if I compare the price of food, of accommodation, and public transport, Turkey, Iran, Nepal, and Malaysia, they are the most budget-friendly destinations. On top of that, Georgia and Armenia, Oman and Kurdistan, it's more expensive, and the most expensive destinations is Hong Kong and UAE. So if you are traveling to those 2 places, remember to bring enough money with you. There is no big secret behind that. I had been traveling on my savings. I had worked for 6 years, and this allows me to travel for a while without worrying too much about money. And also, my travel expense is relatively low. And the good news is that not a very long time ago, maybe about 2 weeks ago, I was able to monetize my channel. So now I can earn a cup of coffee for all the videos that I made. And I hope as I improve and keep up the work, finally one day I'll be able to finance all my trips by video making. So if you want to support my work, please give me a thumb up or leave some comments below, and in a much more fun way if you want to make videos together. For the coming 2 years, I will be working mostly in China and also occasionally traveling abroad. So if you plan to come to visit China, or if you want to host me in your home country, let me know, and I would be more than happy to have more people in my video when the right time comes. Some people ask me if I was afraid or if it's difficult to travel alone, and my experience is that once you start, it won't take you very long before you know how to manage everything by yourself. And also, there are 2 big advantages of a solo traveler. Firstly, you can be extremely flexible. You can always change your schedules. And secondly, you are more likely to be approached by others. You're more likely to be invited for tea or coffee. You can always have a talk with the locals, and all that will give you a very authentic local experience. So other people are asking me which is the best country and which countries that I would recommend to visit. But in my opinion, they all worth visiting, and they all have unique characters. And it all depends on what you want to see. So instead of giving a simple answer, in my next video, I'm going to take you on a tour with me to all those countries and regions that I've been to. But if you have any specific questions regarding certain country or region, you can always ask me in the comments. All those countries have very friendly people and never failed to ask for help. But in some countries, it's much easier to feel welcomed, and it's also faster to establish contact with the locals because they are more curious about me, and also because they are not shy. So those countries are Turkey, Iran, and Malaysia. Iran and Turkey, both countries have a tradition of hospitality, and since I'm someone from a faraway place, I was treated as a guest. I was very often invited for a tea, for dinner. I was also adopted by some of my friends. In Iran, it's even more so. I had to try really hard to compete to pay for the bills because they said, according to their tradition, the guests don't pay. And also in both countries, people are very outgoing. They love talking so much, not only with you, but also among themselves. So it's really easy to strike a conversation with them. It's easy to make friends. And in Malaysia too, people are extremely relaxed. Also because since I speak Chinese, I met lots of Malaysian Chinese. We are of the same culture root. So it's another feeling of familiarity. It's like meeting someone from your hometown in a faraway place. But also I spent longer time in those 3 countries, and this also means I had a bigger chance of meeting people. And to be frank, I found people from Kurdistan extremely outgoing and hospitable too. It's just that we stayed a very short time, and also other countries such as Armenia, Georgia, Oman, and Nepal, people are extremely friendly, but they are a little bit shy, so it will take them a bit longer time before they can approach you. The key is that you stay open and you stay longer, and I'm pretty sure that you will make friends and very nice experiences. This is the last practical information. So based on my experience, Turkey, Iran, Malaysia, and Georgia have relatively well-developed public transport. This means you can use public transport to reach most attractions. And in Nepal, it's a mountainous country. Although you can take the buses, the road condition isn't very ideal, so it can take you very long before you can reach the next destination. Otherwise, you can also choose the flights. In other countries of Armenia and also in Oman, in Kurdistan, the best way is to sign up for a group tour or to rent a car because many of the attractions are not really accessible by public transport. It's much better to have your own vehicle. So those are all the practical information. I hope it will be helpful for you. And if you have any other questions, please do not hesitate to leave a comment and ask me in the comment area. And also, I am working on my last video of my trip. In the next video, I'm going to take you through all those countries and regions that I've been to. I've been working really hard on that, and I hope you will enjoy it. So see you next time.